So I just met with a company that told me with a straight face that they're using Agile everywhere. However, product runs 2-week sprints, engineering works in monthly releases, and operations plans quarterly. And the marketing team operates on campaign cycles. So they actually have 5 different definitions of done, and nobody can explain how decisions actually get made. And this, unfortunately, is what passes for methodology in many organizations. So here's a dirty little secret. Most companies don't actually have execution frameworks. What they have is a methodology soup. Bits of Scrum mixed with Kanban, sprinkled with Waterfall gates, with a little bit of lean principles thrown in, all held together with Slack messages and a whole bunch of heroic effort. Now it sounds sophisticated. We have a hybrid approach that combines the best of everything. But what they actually have is the overhead of multiple methodologies with the benefits of none of them. And teams interpret this soup through their own lens. Engineering focuses on ceremonies, and product obsesses over backlogs, and operations demands approvals everywhere, and leadership wants milestone reports, and everybody is doing their own version of the process, which means nobody's actually following the same process. And when every team operates differently, well, alignment becomes virtually impossible. Handoffs break down because nobody knows what the other team is expecting. Quality varies wildly because standards aren't shared, and risks go unflagged because nobody's tracking consistently. So you end up with execution by exception. Everything requires some degree of custom coordination. It requires personal relationships and constant firefighting, and that just doesn't scale. So what does a real execution framework actually look like? Well, let's talk about how you actually build one, and that will illuminate this question. So let me pull this open here, and we will walk through this together. The first step is to define your core execution lifecycle. So every piece of work that moves through phases, whether you acknowledge them or not. So make them explicit. Break work into like 5 or 6 clear phases that every initiative follows. This might be discovery, planning, committing, execution, review, closing. Each phase has a specific purpose. Discovery is about understanding the problem. Planning is about defining scope and resources. Committing is final approval and allocation. Execution is the actual work. Review is assessing outcomes. And then closing is documenting and launching or transitioning. This becomes your organizational vocabulary. When someone says, "we're in planning," everyone knows exactly what that means and what comes next. All right, step 2 is to map roles and responsibilities per phase. This is where frameworks tend to collapse if they do. Unclear ownership at every handoff. So use RACI models to clarify who does what, when, and who decides. So in the planning phase, product might be responsible for scope, engineering might be accountable for feasibility, design might be consulted on experience, leadership might be informed of resources, but you want to make these explicit, not assumed. The goal is to eliminate the "I thought you were handling that" kind of situation from your organization's vocabulary. Remove it forever. It has no place there. Step 3, standardize key deliverables. Each phase should produce specific outputs that enable the next phase to begin effectively. So create lightweight templates for charters, for milestone definitions, progress reviews, completion criteria. These templates become quality gates. You can't move from planning to committing without a completed charter. And you can't move from execution to review without documented outcomes. Now keep them simple, but make sure they're complete. A 1-page template that gets used beats a 10-page document that gets ignored. Now step 4, create a project health rubric. You need some sort of an early warning system, not only post-mortem analysis. So define what healthy execution looks like across delivery confidence, team alignment, resource adequacy, stakeholder satisfaction. Use color-coded dashboards. Green obviously means on track. Yellow means risk that needs some monitoring. And red means immediate attention required. But define what each color actually means in behavioral terms, not just gut feelings. And track this weekly for active projects, bi-weekly for longer initiatives. Make project health visible before problems turn into crises. And then step 5, pilot and refine this with real teams. And don't roll it just out everywhere just on day 1. Choose a handful, 2 or 3 maybe, active projects to test the framework out. Work closely with these teams to understand what works, what needs adjustment, and what just flat out doesn't work at all. Gather feedback systematically. What's actually slowing teams down? Where are handoffs breaking? And what templates help versus just feeling like busy work or overhead? And use this feedback to refine before you send it out for broader adoption. That builds credibility and it builds buy-in. And when you get this right, everything changes because decisions happen faster. Authority is clear. Handoffs smooth out because expectations are explicit. Problems surface early because tracking is systematic. Teams report higher confidence and lower stress because they understand what's expected. And leadership gets visibility without micromanaging because the framework provides natural reporting. Most importantly of all, execution becomes systematic rather than heroic. And that lets you scale. It lets you improve and adapt without breaking down. Your strategy certainly deserves an execution framework that can actually deliver on it consistently. The question isn't whether you need one. The question is whether you're ready to build one properly.